Hey, buddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 7. And today we're going to be playing our good old friend Simon Bolivar. Brand new leader that was added with the Crossroads of the World collection, the new DLC that has been released not too recently, just yesterday. We're going to be bringing ourselves an inscribed sling bullet for that beautiful +1 military attribute. As for the second memento, I'm really not sure what would work quite well with Simon Bolivar. He is expansionist, so maybe I'll bring an expansionist attribute point. I think that might suit him quite well. So let's go ahead and start in the Antiquity age. Now the game suggests playing either Maya or Rome, because Rome strategically complements Simon Bolivar, and the Mayan Empire is from a similar geographic area in the world as Simon Bolivar. The Mayan Empire, it's not exactly one-to-one correlation, but it's nearby. But if I'm thinking about like Simon Bolivar's abilities, right, +1 free war support, they can purchase constructibles for free when during conquest. I think they really want to play some sort of militaristic civilization. Either that or an expansionist. Egypt could be a good choice because of the extra production towards wonders that they get. Rome could be a really good choice because of the extra culture that they get, which will allow them to unlock those military wonders really early that Simon Bolivar would really like to get his hands on. And also, the unique Great General could be quite powerful as well. So I do like the idea of playing as Rome, but I've done so many games as Rome, so I'm trying to see if I can come up with somebody else that I should play. I can't remember if I've played a game as Carthage. Could be a lot of fun to play Carthage. If I'm going to play Carthage, I'm going to switch Groma, which gives me an expansionist attribute point, for complaint to, for the cultural attribute point, because we're going to need a little bit of extra culture to unlock the wonders at a reasonable pace, whereas Rome has that built in, that +1 culture right there. So let's play Carthage, see what we can do. We'll play on deity difficulty, of course, standard game speed, continents plus, standard map size, with the standard start position, this one is new, standard age length, moderate disaster intensity, crises turned on, and here's our seeds. We'll go ahead and jump right in. Let's go. Okay, so taking a look at our start location, we are starting in the snow, which is not ideal because we would like to build, not necessarily the Dur Sharakun, but I would love to build the Gate of All Nations. Now that does need to be adjacent to a district. If I could build the Terracotta Army, that would be amazing. The Mausoleum of Theodoric would also be amazing, so I really want to rush down this bottom half of the tech tree as fast and as quickly as possible. So I'm having a little bit of a think about which location I would like to settle on. I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to build my unique district in my capital city. And if that is true, I may actually re-roll this start because it's really, really important for Carthage to get access to that. Oh god, they're power washing the building. Let me close the window. Yeah, the Kothon is super important to get into your capital for that +2 resource assignment so that Numidian cavalry are actually useful. This is going to be a masonry rush because we care a lot about culture in this game to unlock those wonders before the AI. And we're going to go warrior heavy first because we are going down the militaristic side of the culture tree. Okay, yeah, we're not adjacent to coast, so I'm just going to hit the restart button. This one is brand new, and hopefully we get a slightly more coastal start for Carthage. I could have played that start, it would have been kind of fun, but I'm not at the point now where I'm ready to take on like challenge runs of Civ 7. I kind of want to play slightly more balanced games at the moment. Okay, this is a lot better in terms of the location. Now, do I want to settle in place or do I want to go a tile to the left? We do have actually some really good resources here. 2 continents to the north. We have a nice mountain as well as a nice resource adjacency tile and a couple of really good water adjacency tiles here. So I'm quite liking this. If I were planning this out, this will be where my sawmill and my grist mill go. Yeah, I like this a lot. So let's go ahead and found the city in place. That's Carthage. We're on a navigable river and a coast. I'm going to open with warriors because I'm going to be going for the early discipline and hopefully clearing out some of those barbarian encampments. We'll go ahead down here because we want to hit that campfire. In terms of research, our early tiles are mostly vegetated. I can work 2 vegetated tiles on the way to these plantations. So I'm going to open with animal husbandry. I think that feels like the right choice. All right, let's step up here. We could sample the berries. We can get 30 culture and 20 food to Carthage. Or we could get science. Culture is really good. It's going to get us to those wonders faster. And getting those wonders online is really, really important. I'm going to take the +1 production for now. So I'll grab that farm. That's +1 food, +1 production, which is excellent. And it does look like we are towards the south of the map. Already a hostile city-state has found us. We're going to grow to the cotton because this is a 2 food, 2 production, 1 gold, 1 happiness tile, which is fantastic. Loving the fast growth. Let's make sure we explore the edge. So we have found, we could befriend them, but I'm more likely to want to try to kill them. I'll explore down here because it's likely that this exploration will be done pretty quick. Yeah, lovely. Would have been nice if my city was 1 tile to the left to be able to grab more of this water, but it's fine. Like, I love the new quick movement ability. It makes life so much easier. Do we want to start on a granary? I think I'm willing to put 2 more turns into a warrior. I'll send this warrior slightly more to the north, trying to get as much exploration done as possible in the nearby area. I have heard that the AI has been upgraded significantly. We're going to go ahead and grab cotton. That's going to be another boost of early game food. Food is really valuable for the first about 7 pops. Then after that, it drops off. And that's in the Antiquity age. It goes up to 8 or 9 in the Exploration age, and then it drops off. So it's not a perfect rule, but it's a good rule of thumb. Okay, we can get a saw pit in 5 turns. I'm going to build the saw pit right here because that will expand us closer to the silk. And we want to get our production up. Now, I could go straight for masonry. However, I'm going to stop off for pottery because I want that strong baseline production. The +1 food on plantations is really nice as well. And we're going to go straight for discipline. Our government that we're going to choose, I genuinely think that Classical Republic is the strongest government type in the Antiquity age. So that is just a vibes-based thing. I'm going to add +2 culture to the palace because we want to finish this faster. We've got it down to... Oh, I forgot to input my feckin' abilities here. Let's go for combat strength against independent powers. Oh my god, we missed out on so much culture there. Whoopsies. Let's get another warrior. So we'll have 5 warriors. We'll be starting off this age with 5 warriors. That is a really, really strong and competent military when it comes to fighting city-state units and independence. So we're really coming out the gate swinging here. I can improve a relationship with Shamram. I'll take the happiness towards celebration, so it's a 20% culture / boost towards 15% production boost towards wonders. I'll explore to the northeast with you. I will explore to the east with you, and you shall continue east as well. Dodge the slinger until we have a commander. Early game, we're not looking for fights. We're looking for information. See the new health bars? I quite like them. I also like the red bars around my enemies. I'm going to go ahead and tell you to fortify on that tile until you can heal. We're exploring. We found another slinger. We want to avoid combat in the early game. Mostly what we're doing is trying to find information. Good job. You're tanking. Okay, we have a cultural city-state here. Keep fleeing. Finish those fortifications. Keep moving east. Lovely. Continuing to explore over here. You have tanked all that you need to tank. You'll now heal. Oh, we've got a ruin right there. We want to keep looking for those wondrous things that give us extra resources. Goody huts. Looks like there's some sort of internal lake here. 15 production to the capital. That does not really help us at this time. I'll take the happiness towards the celebration. That's quite good. We could build the granary on this tile right here, or we could go ahead and get a colonist. I think we'll just quickly grab the colonist, and then that will line up with pottery coming in. Nice, we found a luxurious encampment. Let's take the culture boost. Anything that boosts our culture early is going to be super helpful. We're also looking for production right now, as well as access to resources. I see lots of resources in and around here that I'm a big fan of. Like there's 2 production, 1 gold, 1 happiness right there. That's amazing. Let's take the 20% culture boost as well, so that we can get to those wonders faster. Things are looking pretty good for us, I gotta say. Vibes-wise, I feel like the vibes are pretty good on our start here. Unfortunately, you are gonna have to fight that slinger. It's not ideal. He kind of has you cornered, but you should get that kill, and then we can heal you up. I will put a single turn into a slinger in Carthage. We need to think about where we want to settle and how we want to settle. I would have liked to have settled towards Gieschi. Let's have a look around. Are there any critical resources on the map here? So we are playing Carthage, so we would like to find horses if possible, because that would give us +1 combat strength on our units. We also want to be able to assign many different unique resources to our capital, and we want to be settling on these freshwater blue tiles, these nice blue freshwater tiles. So there's horses over here. We've got wine. That's an empire resource. We've got elephants. These are all empire resources. If we settled right here, we would get wine, we would get elephants, we would get horses, all of which are fantastic. This would not be a coastal city though, and Carthage in particular really likes coastal cities. I could settle down right here on the coast. This would get us gypsum, it would get us silver, it will get us hides. It's not on fresh water, which sucks, so we miss out on a big chunk of resources. but it would be a really nice coastal. There's lots of vegetated around here. There's a nice fishing resource that we would get access to. So I'm quite intrigued by this. I think this city might actually be worse if we were to move it up slightly because we claim less of the nice water. What about right there? Yeah, the positioning of Giesci is annoying. This sets us up for a really nice building because if we look at the Kothon, it has production adjacency for coast, navigable rivers, and wonders. So it likes water adjacency. And then the food building likes resources, districts, and wonders. So I'm thinking either like right here, that's a 4+ adjacency on it. That's really nice right there. So I'm thinking I might settle right here, put the Kothon right there. It looks good. We'll grow to some nice resources. Fantastic tile. Got a couple of volcanoes erupting in the nearby area. We have a scientific city-state. I don't know if we want to befriend that. There is a question of, do we want to settle up this way? We would be able to get a coastal district there. A little bit stuck. Yeah, we don't have the best choices for our first 2 city locations with these independent people still existing. All right, there is discipline. We have our army commander. We got the free army commander, and we have pottery that's going to give us the brickyard, food on plantations, production on clay pits. I'm going to come in here and we're going to immediately research masonry because we want to get our monument as soon as possible. We like and desire the extra culture that it represents. I'm going to nestle you on this tile to heal. And we'll start walking our warriors back so that we can clear Shamron with our army commander. Stay fortified there to tank. All right, let's go for mastery of discipline. We are trying to rush the gate of all nations. So we have 8 turns of production left in our capital before we're going to be building a wonder. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's so many slingers. All right, settlers in position, colonists. Let's go ahead and colonize right here. In terms of growth, I do think getting the wine will give me extra happiness, which gets me more celebrations. It also has a little bit of food on it. And we do want to be settling next to resources. That's actually a really important consideration as Carthage that I forgot about. You get your first pop growth event a lot sooner. We'll go for the clay pit right there. That's pretty good. So this settlement location actually is bad because it's not adjacent to a resource, which makes me want to divert over to these horses. So I will divert. Now, let's quickly grab the brickyard. We want the +1 production, the +1 science and culture. Also really nice. Get this warrior to heal up nice and safe. You're coming back to support the attack on Shamron. This warrior is getting absolutely dumpstered, so I'm going to try and fall back further while I bring my other warriors up. Get inside that guy. We'll move this warrior forward to fortify, and we'll deposit the slinger on this tile. Perfect. Now, let's attack with the slinger. This will get us experience. Then I'll move the army commander forward a tile to fortify, and then the warrior will assault, getting the experience, clearing this out. And now we're in a position to advance upon the actual place. Now, the question is, 1, 2, 3. So there's kind of a line here. 1, 2, 3. There's a kind of invisible line along here where we can't settle. We could settle somewhere over here, like next to that sheep. That actually feels pretty good. We would be on the inland lake. Need to keep running away with this warrior so he doesn't get killed. We have ran into Isabella. I will give her a friendly greeting. And I'm going to befriend this independent, hopefully getting wonder construction or culture from them. Let's move our military commander over into position. And we'll bring our slinger up so that we can begin ranged attacking right here. Now, he did get his promotion. That's excellent. I am a huge fan of maneuver promotion plus initiative first. Yes, you delay getting your order, but I think it does make your units a lot stronger. Start attacking here. Yeah, I'm thinking of settling on the sheep or on this river right here. It's still adjacent to the sheep. It gets access to the silver and the marble. It's coastal adjacent. Yeah, I think I like that. All right, 1 attack with a slinger, and then we get in there with our warrior. Boom, we got him. Nailed them. So that's a nice chunk of experience on our army commander. We will now disperse these units, giving us access to the Gate of All Nations and also combat strength against independent powers if we want it. Let's take the initiative promotion. You're going to go back into our territory to heal. If I'm thinking about the layout of my settlements, 1, 2, 3. I think beside the sheep is better here because I'm probably going to settle here to get the wine, the horses, and the elephant, closing out the gaps in my empire. Yeah, I'm going to settle on this river here. So I can get a warrior or a migrant. I'm going to take the warrior. I'll move out towards Giesci. We get a militaristic attribute point for clearing a city-state that we can use now to gain +1 war support on all of our wars, which leans into Simon Bolivar's abilities. And now we want to build the Gate of All Nations, and we're going to build it right here. And we're building it here for 2 reasons. First of all, it will actually boost adjacency for buildings that scale off mountains on these 2 tiles. It'll boost the adjacency for science and production buildings on this tile, and it'll replace a farm, which we can use to population bounce to a tile that actually has good production, like for example, this woodcutter. We're going to go straight for drills, because if we can get the Gate of All Nations, Terracotta Army, and the Mausoleum of Theodoric, we're in like godlike position to go on the warpath. They all have really nice ageless bonuses. So the Gate of All Nations gives you +2 war support on all wars. That's a huge diplomatic influence boost, a huge military boost, a huge happiness boost, and the fact that it's ageless and forever and also boosts the adjacency of your buildings. Just incredible. Then when it comes to the Terracotta Army, it does need to be placed on grassland. It needs to be placed on flat grassland. So I think the only really viable tile I have is right there, so I need to keep that in mind. So the Terracotta Army gives you a free army commander and a 25% army commander experience boost forever. So really quite valuable. You can get up to 2 army commanders relatively early. The Mausoleum of Theodoric gives you a huge boost to yields from pillaging, which could lead us into going into a Bulgaria switch in the mid game. Which would be incredible. And it also gives you a militaristic attribute point, which for us right now as Simon Bolivar, if we were to get that extra militaristic attribute, it means we would not have extra happiness penalty in settlements. Really quite powerful. So that's kind of like the opening strategy and the opening logic behind it. I hope you find it good. Okay, I'm going to spend a turn or two with my units healing up. We have met another player. I'm going to give her a friendly greeting. I'm going to focus on city-state diplomacy in the early phase of this age, but we will move on to other things in the not-too-distant future. All right, my units are healing up. The city of Hadrometum has grown. 1, 2, 3. We could reach these elephants. I don't think it's the worst thing ever to grow in that direction. We also wouldn't mind a saw pit in here. If I paved over this clay pit, we could get the marble, but the clay pit's honestly a better tile. Granary would let us reach the zenith of this town's growth really quickly. Early food is quite strong. This is a 40% growth bonus in this city right now. This falls off hard long term, but it is really powerful short term. I'm going to go granary first, even though I don't think it's an objectively correct choice. Spending a few turns healing up before we move out. All right. Get you in there. One more turn healing. We'll settle our third city on our third settlement on turn 29. We're going to open with the wool, and then we'll take the 2 food 3 production tile that's been fertilized by that mountain. I am going to put the wool into the capital because production in the capital matters more for getting the Gate of All Nations. We're going to wait another turn while we wait for these units to heal. All right, jump inside there. Jump inside. We're up to 4 units. That's perfect. We can now send him down to Gieshi, which we're going to clear next. My capital is ready to grow, and I do think a 10% culture boost in this city could be really nice alongside +1 culture per turn. It's not much in the way of production, however. We are building a wonder right now. So I think the +2 production and +1 gold over here is actually pretty damn valuable. I'm going to have you protect this city, and you're going to go, or rather this town, and you're going to go protect Utica. All right. So this is why I love the commander deployment ability, because I am faced with some bad dudes, but I can just deploy warriors right in the face of my enemy, and they're capable of moving and acting. And we're just gathering little chunks of experience for this army commander. I know that Carthage is defenseless right now, but that's not important to me. Jebel Topkal has erupted. It did fertilize some of the tiles around here. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to pay 24 gold to repair that mine, which is a pretty damn expensive repair this early into the game when you don't make that much money. I'm going to scoop up this warrior so I can move a healthier warrior forward, and we'll keep attacking until we get these kills. Perfect. All right, what are we doing? Get scooped up. Deposit out the wounded warriors so that they can heal, and then we can deploy this slinger into Gieshi and instantly clear it. Boom. And that will finish the Gate of All Nations in a single turn, promoting this army commander as well. And then we can go down the assault tree to give extra combat strength to our infantry, but ideally our cavalry, because that's what we're going to want to transition into when we're playing the Numidians. This Numidian cavalry here goes hard. Ooh, science per turn would be incredible. I'm going to just accept this. I do need to get a little bit more information about the wider world, but for now we're looking okay. The question is, do we clear Tiwanuku or do we befriend them? Do we clear them or do we befriend? This would be a big injection of science, as well as another 25 experience on our army commander, which would get us closer to this order promotion. We have befriended Arna. I think we're going to take some turn to heal up our units for now while we think about whether or not we want to invade. And this is huge. Okay, we just got the Gate of All Nations, which is +2 war support on all of our wars. That is massive. And it's a beautiful wonder as well. So now, as Simon Bolivar, we have +1 free war support on all of our wars. We have +1 coming from our leader attributes, and we have +2 coming from this wonder. Honestly, this wonder could be just +1 and it would still be really good. We have 8 turns until we're finished researching tactics. So I need to figure out what I want to do in those 8 turns. We could build another wonder. It's not a completely incomprehensible decision to do so. We could build another pair of colonists to get our next wave of cities down, and I think that's actually a more reasonable decision. All right, let's scoop up this slinger, and we'll scoop up this warrior, and we'll start making our way over to Tiwanaku, because we can choose to kill them if we want. Utica has grown. I'm going to grow to this silver. 2 food, 3 production, 1 gold, 2 science is insane this early into the game. There's a lot of units here that we could farm for gold or farm for experience. And it doesn't really compete for our coastal settles to the south. You know, I think I'm going to skip killing Tiwanaku, and I'm going to head north here to see what we can find. Okay, this is big. We have access to the monument and the pyramids as well, actually, which is +1 gold in production and minor and navigable rivers. We could go for pyramids this game. I think it's slightly lower on our priority list compared to getting colonists, monument, and the terracotta army. Coming into Hadrumetum, I'm going to grab the marble, as that will be a boost towards wonder production. I'm going to take these 2 warriors into my army commander, who's going to zip north to go clear out this mess. We are double expanding, so irrigation might not be the worst decision ever. Also, +1 production on production buildings would help us build wonders with the masonry mastery. I really do think that animal husbandry, pottery, masonry 2 is one of the strongest openings in the entire game. I haven't seen much that dissuades me of that notion. Oh, Jesus. Okay. My city has been attacked. We'll deposit a slinger in place and a warrior right here. We'll scooch you forward, and then you'll scooch forward. My slinger will slam this nerd. So 1 more turn and we can befriend Tiwanaku. The question is, do we want to be wonder construction for 10 turns, or do we want the culture boost? We wouldn't get the benefit of the wonder construction for 3 of the 10 turns, whereas we would get the culture boost. So I think I'm going to go for the culture boost here, just because we're not actually building wonders at the moment. I'm also going to take honor for the +3 combat strength against independent powers. All right, let's blast you. Yeah, my city is under attack. We will move our army commander forward and then attack here to hopefully finish this off. Perfect. And my colonists are about to finish, so I'm going to go for maybe a couple of coastals down here, as that is where my civilization strengths lay. So thinking about where we want to settle, I think we should settle here because it's adjacent to a resource. It gets a decent number of the resources around. Yes, it's not on freshwater, which sucks, but we're playing Carthage, and Carthage loves coastals because of their unique abilities. I think we should go for monument. The +4 culture is huge. The diplomatic influence is really nice. I'm going to talk to Tiwanaku and I'm going to befriend them. I think it's good to get 2 city-state friendships here. We could do a lot with that. I'm going to pop a monument on this tile right here. 4 culture, 1 influence. That's also going to pop bounce us. I will go for +2 production tile, plus we get closer to that 4 production iron tile. But yeah, the second we finish that monument, we'll go for the, what do you call it? Terracotta army, and we'll improve that iron as well. Okay, so I do think monumental architecture is really strong. Arch is pretty good, but I think this is going to be +2 culture in our capital, and then an additional +2 when we get control of Tiwanaku. On the other hand, megalith is quite good as well. I think I'm going to go for the monumental architecture. That's going to be a pretty big culture boost for the monument that we're building, which gives us a lot of tempo and helps us build wonders, right? So let's sling here. I'm going to scoop up this warrior. I'm going to move my army commander 1 tile to the northeast. I'm going to attack this slinger, and I will pull this warrior back a tile to protect my army commander. I have the production now. I'm going to buy the brickyard in Hadrumetum. We're expanding towards the coastline, and we will continue to grow. I want to get to this iron, so the next building that I purchase will be on this tile so that we can get access to this coastal. And then boom. All right, perfect. There is tactics. We have access to the terracotta army. We will be getting that up as soon as we can. Utica has grown. These volcano tiles are fantastic. We will continue to expand to these volcano tiles. However, I will grab that marble because, again, that's going to be a nice production boost for when we do start the terracotta army, which is a very expensive wonder, okay? It's quite expensive. And then we're going to rush organized military so we can get the mausoleum of Theodoric. And that's why we need that huge culture boost that's going to come from Arna the second that this monument is finished. Don't let this scout find out. Don't let them know. All right, slinger, slam here. We will get this warrior to hopefully finish off this guy. Did not quite work, so I'll deploy another warrior in order to finish him. Then we'll take some time for these guys to all heal up before we move out to take on Via Darapura. The Tessa River has flooded, which is pretty bad for my capital because those are 2 actually pretty important tiles, my cotton plantations. So I'm going to quickly repair those. And it looks like the repair bug has been fixed, which is really nice. We can get a warrior or a migrant. I'll take another warrior. And in Utica, I'm actually going to buy a scout because I need to know more about this eastern area. I'll send a warrior to the north. I'm going to get more exploration done. You guys are all going to be just healing up for a while. This warrior is going to scout this sort of southernly area here. So if I'm settling a city here, that grabs the furs. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't grab the silver. It grabs this gypsum and this silver here. 1, 2, 3. So if I settle on this other side of this navigable river, in a perfect world, I would settle in a way that I could get these pearls, this salt, this silver, and this sheep. And so if I'm drawing a line, the tiles that, so like we kind of do, this is where like if I had, you know what? I do have thing. If I press G, hold on. This is where MS Paint can save us, okay? We can start to do the maths here. Okay, so here's the thing. So let's choose a nice bright color. Each green dot represents a settlement location I think could be pretty viable here, right? Sort of like this area, I think that could work. 1, 2, 3. Actually, this one down here is no good. So I'm going to mark that this one is a red one because it's not in range of the silver, right? If we draw a line using the silver, this is why we need pins and planning tools. Right, the silver can reach this far. If we want to settle within range of the silver, we have to settle inside this triangle of tiles, which just so happens to correspond with all of these. If we want to be in range of the sheep, we have to settle. I'm going to choose a different color for the sheep. I'm going to choose like a nice blue. Okay. We have to settle inside this triangle. And just so happens that the salt and the silver share a triangle, but the outlier here is actually this thing, the pearls, because if we want to settle adjacent to the pearls, so we actually have to settle on one of these two tiles right here. Do you see that? Because in order to reach the sheep, I have to settle on somewhere on the blue triangle to reach the silver, or the salt, I have to be on the yellow triangle, and to reach the oysters here, the pearls or whatever, I have to be on the orange circle, which means it really only leaves these two tiles right here. And this is why we need map pins, because it would make this so much easier than having to open up MS Paint to do this. So I know now that 1, 2, 3, it's one of these two tiles that I want to settle on. And it's really a question of, do I want the gypsum inside the city and settle on a river, this nice freshwater tile, also able to grab the gypsum and stuff like that, or do we want to, I think we settle on that freshwater tile right there. That does leave this tile open. Now if I settle one tile to the left, we block this tile from settling, and I don't like it when there's like random open tiles available for settling. So that actually pushes me to not want to settle on freshwater, because otherwise this tile would be available for settling. So I'm gonna settle off freshwater, even though I hate doing it, and it's bad because I, as a player, I hate it when there's gaps in my empire. Now, I don't want to build a granary here in Carthage. We're going to get started on the terracotta army. Oh, wow. Must be built on grassland. It doesn't have to be flat grassland. Well, the interesting thing about it not having to be flat grassland is if we built it right here, we would actually have a 1, 2, 3, 4 adjacency gold tile right here, land/food gold tile, which isn't the worst, although I do think gold tiles are pretty damn weak, all things considered. Whereas if I built the terracotta army here, this would give +1 adjacency to my unique district if I were to build it right here. And that honestly appeals to me a little bit more. So let's get that terracotta army down. A lot of calculation, a lot of thinking going on. But this is what I love about Civilization, man, is that it really activates your brain and encourages you to think about things, to think about the decisions, to think about the consequences of your actions. So there's masonry, +1 production on production buildings. That's going to be really nice. Starting to snowball our empire's productivity. I'm going to settle this colonist right here. Now, this is going to put us over our settlement limit, which is going to hurt us by 5 happiness in all of our settlements. That's only going to matter in Utica right now. And that's also why we're going to start immediately researching irrigation, which I think is the perfect follow-up. This is just the style, the opening style that I like to play. And I just so happen to think it's one of the strongest ones. Now, we have unlocked Songhai by having a lot of navigable rivers. One of the people I do want to unlock actually is Bulgaria. So how do I unlock Bulgaria? Have 3 altars. Okay, so I just need to make sure that I build 3 altars at some point in this game. Go ahead and grab the gypsum. Do I want the silver? I think I would prefer to grow towards the furs, but I will grab the silver for now because it's another unique resource. I'm going to assign the gypsum to my capital because it's worth 2 production. Really nice. All right, let's get our warriors inside our army commander. And we'll wait one more turn before we move out with him so these units can be healed up. All right, keep going, little scout. Cross the river. Find more information for me. Yeah, I'm over the settlement cap, which sucks, but that's part of life. Let's do a little radar scan here. Didn't really find much. Keep scouting with this warrior. We met into civilization, so we ran into Xerxes. I will give him a friendly greeting. I do like to make friends. Scoop up our units, and we'll move out next turn. There's 25 signs from Tiwanaku. I'll send this warrior out here to scout this little bit of land. We might want to think about getting some quadriremes to explore the coastline. Let's deploy an archer, and we'll also deploy a warrior here. We'll shoot this guy. We'll step forward using up our commander's speed. Can we clear this archer? Huge. That's going to shave so much time off organized military. Let's pillage here. There's 100 culture, I believe. Yeah, 100 culture. That shaved 2 turns off to organized military. That is massive, considering how expensive that civic is usually. No! Somebody stole the terracotta army. So we have a couple of options to sort of make up for that. We could switch our production into the pyramids, and I don't think the pyramids are a particularly terrible pivot here. You've got 1, 2, 3 adjacency. You've got 1, 2, 3 adjacency, 4 adjacency. So I don't think it makes much of a difference where I build this pyramid, so I'm going to build the pyramid right there. Technically, it would have been better to build it here because then a couple of buildings here would have improved my palace, but it's fine. Let's grab that iron. That's a +4 production tile. And then as soon as I can afford it, I will buy the saw pit to crush this farm so that we don't have to keep working a farm now that the city is starting to hit its population. We're going to grab the elephants here for the production boost towards desert wonders. Yeah, the terracotta army is a really hard one to get. The AI tends to beeline it. And you can see, like, I had boosts from city-states. I had boosts coming from, like, clearing out things. I pretty much beelined it. The only way I could have got there faster, right, would have been to skip going for the Gate of All Nations. And you know, the terracotta army is a really hard wonder to get your hands on, in my experience. It's one of the hardest wonders to build in the game, purely just because of how quickly the AI rushes to it. Okay, sick. Our capital has grown. We're going to grab this iron. That's 4 production per turn, +1 combat strength for infantry. Quite useful. And we are continuing to explore and reveal the map as one of our primary objectives. Now that we've cleared out some of the city-states and independent peoples, it's a lot safer for us to explore. And my army commander is actually a pretty good explorer. When he has units inside him, he zips around the map nice and quick. So the question is here, Hadrametum, right? It's going to grow in 27 turns. That is a long ass growth time, okay? It is not making that much food. It's working a decent number of production tiles. So maybe it would be good if I were to go for mining town in here and pump up that production, because this is just going to take forever to grow. So I think it's time to switch this over to a mining town. Now a trade outpost is actually also really damn good, particularly if you're playing like Carthage, where you want to go super expansionist and go up to like 12 towns. I think this is fantastic because it represents 8 happiness in the city, but also this is really good because it represents 1, 2, 3, 4 extra production, which is 4 extra gold per turn. The question is, I actually think the trade outpost is going to have better outcomes for us long term. So because it allows us to ignore another 2 cities over our limit. So we could easily go 3 cities over our limit. And this is before we've built the altar. So that has tremendous potential for us. Do I feel comfortable going over my limit? Yes, I do. I have 5 happiness in the capital spare. So I can easily go over my limit here. I'm going to plonk down this city. Now this city is going to have pretty bad happiness, -7, which is a 14% penalty to this city. However, it is beside a resource. So we can grab that salt nice and early. And then we can start growing towards these sheep. Fantastic. The 48 gold per turn, which is really nice. Keep on exploring. We found Gothiada. Unfortunately, Spain is going to get suzerainty of that. That's okay, though. I would have liked a militaristic city-state control, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. I do not like the fact that Xerxes is settling towards me. I may try and get units in the way to block his settlement. I'm also going to ask him for open borders and a farmer's market, and he supported my farmer's market action. That's going to help us grow some of these cities. Now, okay, if I turn you onto growing town, 19 turns, so it's still really slow, so we're going to stick to trade outpost. So that food is now getting sent to Carthage. It'll give us a nice growth boost in there. I'm just going to use this army commander to zip around the map and explore. It's a good backup move for them. One thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to zip back really quick to pick up some of these troops. Zippity-doo-dah. I might be able to clear Gothiada and get the production boost for the pyramids. All right, clear it. Boom. There is the cultural legacy milestone. Incredible stuff. Pyramids completed. This actually makes these water tiles a lot more viable in this city. Utica has grown. Oh my god, just look at these amazing mountain tiles. As soon as we can afford it, we will be buying ourselves a brickyard in this city. Okay, Carthage, are we ready to pick up some new cities? We're 2 over the limit and we're about to unlock 2 more settlement limit. So it could be time to get a colonist. I think it's not a terrible time to get a colonist. Remember that those are doubled because we're playing Carthage, which is a very, very powerful and important ability to keep in mind when you're playing Carthage. Okay, step you back, scoop up all of these units. So if we find another city's, independent people that we want to try and clear, it won't be too difficult. So there's irrigation. We get access to gardens, +1 settlement limit, as well as the hanging gardens. If we could build the hanging gardens, it would be really nice. I think I would like to get it here because I'd like my unique district to go on this tile. So I'm going to try for the hanging gardens. It's not a mission critical. So I can get +1 culture on the granary. This is permanent, I believe, if I found 2 more settlements. And that is absolutely doable. So that's one I'm going to go for. In Thanay, 1, 2, 3. I would like to grow to the hide here really quick, and I shall. Let's sort of make our way down to it. Question is, do we want to go straight for the villa to get the +2 influence? And influence is incredibly valuable, as is our Numidian cavalry. Or do we want to backtrack and start getting things like our fishing keys, our libraries? There's a lot of value in going for library right now, as we are really close to getting suzerainty of Tiwanaku. And we could get +2 science in our libraries, and we have a pretty good library right there, so kind of tempted by that. I like it as a game plan. I'm kind of exploring up here. God, I'm really enjoying playing Civ now that we have the quick movement. I think it actually massively improved the game. Like, the game is so much cleaner and easier to play. I'm already finding like there's less bugs going on. I'm finding myself already feeling less frustrated as I play. I gotta say, the game is massively improved. Now, we need to think about, so the unique district is probably going to go like here. So if we build a unique, or rather an ageless building in that direction, there's 6 gold per turn. That's really nice. That's going to help us out a little bit. Hippo is ready to grow. 2, 3. Yeah, we want to grow to these 2 resources here, so I'll grow to this. So +1 science for every science building. The step pyramid is also a super interesting choice. And I think in this particular empire, I actually think the step pyramid is better rather than the philosopher's circle, because the step pyramid allows me to convert gold into science, which is something that not a lot of my tile improvements are actually, I don't have a lot of ways to turn gold into science, but now I do. They are relatively expensive, but it has increased the flexibility of my empire. It has increased the potential of my empire by a significant margin. Okay, we want to avoid getting dunked on by coastal barbarians, and we can't walk around this city, and I don't want to stand next to volcanoes, so I'm going to zip back around this way around Parsa. Okay, huge. We just finished more colonists, and we wanted to kind of get a colony in and around here to fill in this land. We're not going to get our unique district. We're never going to get these dates unless we play America and they're still around in like the late age. I would like the gypsum. 1, 2, 3. If I settle next to the iron, I would get the gypsum, I would get the iron, and I would get the elephants, and I would fill in this land pretty effectively. And I would also get another coastal city, which Carthage really likes. So I think I'm going to go and settle next to that iron with this guy. This settler, on the other hand, I think I'm going to use this as an opportunity to fill in this territorial gap. Now, 1, 2, 3. The question is, do I want to settle on the left side or on the right side? On the right side, I would get access to these horses. On the left side, I wouldn't get any extra resources, but I would be on freshwater. But I'm going to go with the right side so we can get to those horses. I'll keep on exploring. Yeah, it feels like the Antiquity Age, you're better off playing expansionistly rather than militaristically. That's the vibe that I get. Can we do a little scout here? Oh, lovely. I love these city-states having lots of units. I don't love this guy settling so close to me. It feels close. I will talk to Trung Track and say, hey, can you give me a little bit of open borders here? Let's have a little zip around inside. I have over 222 gold, which means I can build myself another building in here. Utica is starting to reach its population cap, so we don't need that granary. I will get the saw pit, maybe not in here. Perhaps it would be better. What's your growth time? Oh, 8 turns is actually not too slow. Let's see, what do we want? Thinking about it, I can get a 4 production saw pit is really good. Plus, if I place it, we could actually grow to one of these tiles. So let's drop it down right there. That'll be a 3 production saw pit plus a pop bounce to a sheep. And a sheep pop bounce feels really good. I need as much raw production in my capital as possible, so I'm going to leave salt out. Although eventually we will want to assign resources to the capital. Oh, wow. Parsa is in like godlike mountain range territory. That's really cool. Himiku has met me. I will send her a delegation for 20 influence. You always want to maintain good relationships with the neighbors. I'm seeing some barb units nearby, and it could be that there's a independent camp nearby for me to try and blow up, sending this army commander on a great adventure. So there's Kerma the frog. Somebody is competing with me to build the hanging gardens. Don't love that. It's fine. If we get beaten, the production will overflow into the Mausoleum of Theodoric. Let's go ahead and settle right here. That's the first militaristic legacy point. Awesome. Or rather, first militaristic milestone. We're at 0 happiness now in the city, so we will want to hold off. Oh, well, we're getting another settlement limit next turn, so then we can, yeah, that's fine. Now, coming into Sabratan, I definitely feel like we want to grow to these horses. So I'm going to grow to this farm and then the horses, and then I'll plonk a building down here so we can start growing towards these horses. I'll pull this warrior back to protect Utica. He did his job of exploring. This warrior's still doing a good job exploring, and you're exploring as well. Good, sir. Well done. Okay, Jebel Tubkal has exploded. We've got organized military, so the Mausoleum of Theodoric is on the cards. We get a settlement limit. We're setting up for a really, really strong game here. I don't love that there is a galley running around my future territory trying to attack me. We could go for mysticism right now. I do like the +2 gold in all settlements, so I think we will grab that. But then we're going to transition into probably the Carthaginian civics. It's time to start looking at those. And there is a bit of a question as to whether or not you want to rush those, but I wanted to get the ageless benefits from these militaristic wonders, and like you saw, they're pretty competitive. The AI does like to actually build them. Right? Petra has been built by Xerxes. Just keep that in mind, right? When we go conquering later. We're going to settle this city right here. That is going to tank our happiness. That's fine. We have unlocked Chola. You fortify right there. We do have the gold to buy a building, and there's +1 culture on the granary. I think that's permanent in every city forever. We can get a codex or influence. I'll take the codex. They're very useful. We'll grow to the iron. That's 3 iron, so we have access to the Normans, and then I'm going to start growing down 1, 2, 3. They can't get this elephant, but I'm going to grow in its direction anyway, just to try and scoop up that land. I'm seeing some kind of battle unfolding up here with Himiko. Himiko does not have open borders with me. I'm going to ask them for it, just because I'm trying to explore around and figure out. You know, I'm trying to find out so that I can fuck around. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so somebody stole the Hanging Gardens. Again, 109 production has been salvaged, but we can push that straight into the Mausoleum of Theodoric, which is fantastic. It's +3 production, 100% yields from pillaging, and a militaristic attribute point. So if we could get that, it would be amazing. The city is being attacked. All right, let me pull you back to here. You fortify, and I will buy myself a slinger who will be able to shoot this independent people boat. Okay, Thenay is connected to the capital. We will want to grow to this tile right here. Let's get you a brickyard. Keep building you up. Let's grab that silver. That's nice. We're exploring down here. We have found somewhere that we can pick a fight, which is always welcome. Remember, every time we attack, we get army commander experience. It's only +1, but that matters. +1 doesn't sound... Ooh, okay, we found another independent people, and this one's mercantilist. We would love to befriend this. They're the economic city-state. They're my favorite ones. So he's running away. Let's follow. Sabratan has grown, and like I said, I wanted to grow towards these horses. So I'm going to grow like this. I want to plonk some buildings down on that. I'm going to accept Xerxes' thing. I would like to save. The Greek Empire are also building the mausoleum. Mine is a lot further along than hers, but she has a big production boost that I don't have. This is what I was talking about. A lot of the wonders are really competitive. You can get a lot of wonders depending on the difficulty level and the number of saves in the game. I do find getting wonders is easier in smaller games, but in a big game like this, it can be tough. Yeah, I'm definitely winning the race. Let's grab these hides, as I'm hopeful that +3 production will be worth more, and I can move this food down to like a new town that's growing. I'll move the furs up to the capital because it's part of my trade network. Fortify those slingers. You're good. Get that kill. All right, we're continuing to explore. We're not really finding much. All right, sick. There's mysticism. +2 gold in all settlements is amazing, and the altar is awesome. We also have writing. I'm going to drop charismatic leader. I'm going to take priesthood because it's a ton of gold. In here, I'm going to buy an early granary to crush this farm tile and bounce a pop over. It is worth +1 culture, which is actually pretty significant. And then I'll save up to bounce over for this horse as well. We could go for riding too. I don't think it's particularly important for us. We could go for stronger units. I do think sailing is all right. Getting access to the fishing key could allow us to work less water tiles, which would be pretty good when it comes to bouncing. Unfortunately, I think I have to buy a slinger in the capital. They're relatively cheap for me, but it's kind of annoying because there's a feckin' galley over there. I think I'm going to go for the wheel. I want that influence boost. Another question is, do we want to go for our merchants right now? And it would be a really good time to go for our merchants because we could start linking our cities up. Once they all start getting specializations, they would start to feed the capital. Or do we want to go for our unique civics? I think we're going to go for Code of Laws because the merchant is going to be a really important part of benefiting a lot from our unique civics. But then we're going to transition. In terms of, oh wow, Nobody built stone circles. That's really quite good, actually. Also, God of the Sea is pretty good here. God of the Sun isn't terrible. The rainbow set of yields from God of the Sun is really nice because it gives you culture and science from a building that normally you can't get culture and science from. So that one actually feels pretty good. I do think stone circles is probably the best one that I have available to me right now, but I'm going to go for a God of the Sun because I like the extra trickle of yields. Although I do not think it is as good as the other choice. Sometimes I make decisions for style reasons, in that I like this style of gameplay, not that I think this style of gameplay is good. And I just want to make sure that I'm always like defining that. Let's disperse this independent. There's an extra promotion. Awesome. We're going to get the assault promotion here. That's going to give us shock tactics, +3 combat strength for cavalry units when attacking. We just need one more, and we get the +5 combat strength when at full health. And we get order, which will allow us to conduct really strong warfare in the early stages of the next age. And that's really what we're gearing towards. Our whole empire plan is about just having a fairly explosive antiquity age, and then a really strong transition. All right, good exploration happening here. We're finding a lot of really cool stuff. We found Mount Everest. That's really cool. Should reveal all the mountains. +2 happiness, +2 influence, and +2 culture. Really strong, honestly. Very, very strong, especially because it's in Isabella's territory. She must have like infinite diplomatic influence. Very scary to go up against that in a war. I'm praying that I get the mausoleum. Somebody else is building it. Hers still is in the foundational stage, as far as I can tell. I am winning the race, I think. Okay, Utica, you have grown. Let's grow to here. We will repair your mine. Didn't get much gold in terms of gold resources this game, but lots of silver, which is nice. People like to be paid with silver. Let's do a little scout circle. Revealed some good terrain. Shooting that boat in our capital. 3 turns until we find out if we got the mausoleum and if our beelining worked. Okay, somebody built the Great Stele. That's fine. I actually think the Great Stele is pretty goated. And it's for a particular reason that a lot of people ignore, is that the power of the Great Stele is that it allows you to, because it gives you gold, it lets you build quote-unquote buildings, right, because you get the gold from building wonders, while you're still just building wonders. That is the power of the Great Stele. So even though you're spending 100% of your production on wonders, you can use the gold you get every time you finish a wonder to buy infrastructure for your city, which I think is a really powerful thing that a lot of people overlook. It's also like a free warehouse building in one of your towns every time you finish a wonder, which I just think it's stronger than people think. Athenai is growing really slowly, so I'm going to grab it a saw pit, which should allow me, okay, not quite able to pop it. You go on thingy. Right, one more turn. Mine is so close to being finished. How's everyone else's looking? Yours is barely completed. Yours is barely oh, it's actually the same amount of completed as mine. This is where I loved the Civ 7 or our Civ 6 wonders, because you could tell just how far along someone was. Isabella, you're going to make me support this. If she beats me and I accept this, I'm going to be so fucking mad, dude. She's going to become public enemy #1 for Simon Bolivar. I will spend the entire next age eviscerating her empire just to get this if she steals it from me. Okay, we got it. I was like, I basically just threatened the game into giving me this wonder. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so we got 2 out of the 3 key military wonders. I would have loved to have gotten Terracotta Army, right? That 25% army experience is incredible, but we got the 2 most important ones, right? The Gate of All Nations, which is the +2 support in all wars, and the Mausoleum of Theodoric, which is the +1 militaristic attribute point and the 100% yields from pillaging. These 2 are the most important ones. Dur Shara Kun, not really good, it's fine. Terracotta Army is really good because of the extra army experience on your commanders. I wouldn't consider it game-changing. It is good, but it is not game-changing. That's the key point there that I want to be clear on. Now, we would like to build one more wonder so that we can get our second cultural legacy point. And we would like to max out the militaristic golden age, and we would like to get at least 1 point in the scientific legacy point, and at least 1, if not 2 points in the economic legacy points. Those are kind of like the benchmarks that I feel like I'm doing pretty good in an age. Now, Carthage has grown here, and I do think silk is quite good. However, it's a 2 food, 2 production tile. Like, that's actually not too bad. And it gives me access to silk. It's like a really good culture boost. Sabratan has grown. We'll grab those horses. I will buy a brickyard to paste over that farm. We got a narrative choice. We could domesticate silkworms or get science. I'm going to take the gold. Now Sabratan has grown again. This time we can grab the wine, which is +2 happiness in the capital, which is nice. Okay, so the first phase of our plan is completed, and that was to acquire at least 2 of these 3 wonders on the bottom of the tree. Now the second phase of our plan is beginning, and that is to go for merchants, to max out our cultural civics, and get 1 billion trade routes with everyone on the map so that we have a massive, explosive gold line going into the next age. So every single ounce of diplomatic influence is going to start going towards the trading ability that makes people, that we want to trade with people. But that's going to be it for this episode. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.